Being in the woods, breathing the fresh air and listening to the birds singing, nature provides a peaceful escape from the busy world we live in. But for Nikki Van Schyndel, it's much more than that.
I love being in the woods. As soon as I'm here, like, oh my gosh, I see the world different than, most people. I see all the food immediately.
This is one of the sweetest tasting wild edibles. It's called miner's lettuce.
Nikki devoted years of her life to educating herself on edible plants and primal survival skills. It was preparation to live on her own in nature, something she was first inspired to do as a child after reading a book about a boy who ran away, lived off the land, and had a pet raccoon.
One day I was at a teacher's house and I looked on his shelf of his library and I found this book, My Side of the Mountain. I thought, oh my gosh, I could go and do this. I'm gonna go. It's like a dream of primitive survivalists, to go see how long you can last.
Though her original intent was to set out on this journey alone, she ended up meeting somebody with the same desire.
He was like, oh, I want to go live off the land. I read this book when I was a kid. And I was like, wait, like, are you talking Sam Grimley? He's like, yeah, you know Sam Grimley? I was like, yeah, I want to be Sam Grimley.
After months of talking about it, Nikki and her new friend Micah and her house cat Scout set out on an adventure with only a few items from the modern world.
So we had like a frying pan and a pot and a little bit of rope. And we had an axe and, a knife and a saw. And eventually we started just getting rid of our modern things. Like I had a sleeping bag at the beginning and then I got rid of that and I slept in hides. And so every day we just get rid of something modern.
They set out with a goal to spend an entire year living off the land. The first few months proved to be the hardest.
Hygiene, you forget even to wash your face. You're just trying to survive and find food. And at the time our skills for fishing was nil. And it just took us a long time to get good at foraging and hunting and fishing.
The seashore proved to be a popular place to forage for food. One of her favorite meals was shrimp salad. But after a few months, they noticed they weren't getting enough energy and needed to hunt larger animals for more protein and fat.
We made bows and arrows and flint-knapped arrowheads and traps, mostly bears. We made jerky out of all the meat. We made tools out of their bones. We made vests and carpets out of the furs, and we made rope out of the intestines and like everything.
They lived this primitive lifestyle for 19 months and gained a huge appreciation for some of the modern things many of us might take for granted.
To feel hot water cascading down your head was the most glorious day when I made this primitive shower head. Obviously toilet paper, living a whole year and a half without toilet paper is just a nightmare.
Despite the discomforts and exhaustion, at the end of the day, sitting in the middle of nowhere made it all worth it.
Listening to wolves howling, and you can just be free to be you. It was this incredible freedom. You could do whatever you wanted like that. There wasn't this time schedule. There wasn't this like, I gotta do this. And it was what you ever felt to do in your day. It was really beautiful.
When the trip came to an end, it took 3 days to row back to a small local community. Micah went on to live in the city and is currently building one of the world's greenest homes. Nikki couldn't bring herself to leave.
I found a job out there and I caretook a fishing lodge for a couple winters because I just couldn't come back.
Nikki lives in a community of 13 people and she built the log cabin she currently lives in.
I live pretty simply. I cook on a wood stove, I get my hot water with copper coils, and I do have solar panels and I do have internet. And I have a little generator, and my friends and family are teasing me, you're on a slippery slope, Nikki, you got a washing machine. You're like, of course I got a washing machine. I'm so tired of scrubbing my clothes, in a creek or something. And so I'm finding that balance of what's worth it to me, what's worth it for me.
Just as her journey began with a book, it also ended with one. Nikki wrote Becoming Wild, where she shares stories and primitive survival knowledge she learned during what she calls the best experience of her life. In Cedar, I'm Kelly Robinson.